My name is Warren Te Brugge and I work with an organization called Manzimvula. Manzimvula is an interesting name. A lot of people look at it and say, how do you say that? Well, it's actually said phonetically exactly like it is written. And what it means is, it means place of water or new life in Sotho, which is an African language, which is where I'm from. And that is exactly what we like to do with our clients, is help them see where they can gain new life for their organizations and build those organizations in a manner that affects the communities around them. When we look at communities, we're not talking about community in terms of the social sense. We're talking about the community that is that organization. So who are the people that work directly for you and with you? Your vendors, your suppliers, your contractors. Who are the people that you sell your product to? Who are just heard that beeping in the background, very distracting. Who are the people that your products or services affect? And that could be the people that you're marketing them to, who are then reselling them, and ultimately, who is the end user? And that forms your community. In other words, who are all of the people that the organization that you run or work with affects that total community. And what we want to help organizations do is we want to help them see what makes them different. A lot of organizations say, I want to be the same as, or I want to be just like. And they're normally referring to a much larger competitor or a very successful competitor in their same market space. And what we want to do is we want to help you understand and market, and in fact put out there what differentiates you, what makes you different, so that you have a selling proposition that is unique, and so that your competitors can turn around, and wouldn't it be amazing for them to say, I want to be just like, and that like is you. And so we want to help them create that differentiation. But how we want to do it and why we look at the community is that we want them to develop enterprise that is socially responsible. And by socially responsible, we want to make sure that they in fact do affect their communities in a very positive way. What we believe at Manzimvula is this, is that if you create a community that is socially responsible and it is reciprocal, you actually put yourselves outside of the typical economy, because your customers and the people in your community will remain loyal to you. They will see a value in continuing to use your service irrespective of what's happening in the rest of the economy. Because of that community, because of that loyalty, because of that bond, because you have shown that you truly care about them. At Manzimvula, what we really want to be is, we want to be the spark that ignites the hearts and minds of entrepreneurs across the globe. And that's actually our mission. We want to get in there, and we're not the fire, but we are that spark, and we want to just ignite that enthusiasm and that inquisitiveness and that creativity to do things differently, to do things better, to embrace communities around the world. One of the projects that we are working on is a project called My Arms Wide Open. And this is a project that is directed specifically at Southern Africa, and South Africa in particular, which is where I was born. We want to be working with children and with mothers to help them to establish socially responsible enterprise. And why are we working with children and mothers? Because in the African tribal culture, there is a disconnect between families and the father figure. Because the father, through the industrialization of the world, had, in the tribal culture, was pulled out to go and work somewhere else, to be disconnected from that family. And so families don't necessarily know their fathers. But what they do know is their mothers, and I'm using mothers in the plural sense because that refers to their actual mother. It could be their sister. It could be an aunt, or a grandmother, because whoever is there to care for that child cares for them. And it may not necessarily be their own birth mother, because she may not even be in existence anymore. She may have died or passed on. And the same with other members of the family. But what we want to do is help them to establish socially responsible businesses that benefit their communities, however small that community might at first be. to help them build an enterprise that ultimately is profitable, but it is not the focus of that enterprise to generate profit, but in fact to affect the community and the health of that community. By doing this, we believe that we will be able to draw fathers into the fold, to understand that the contracts that have been created, in the economic contracts that have been created in Africa and Southern Africa, are driven by benefit to specific parties rather than the community as a whole. And that is what we want to create, is that benefit for the community as a whole.